me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Kiddo Cave, waking up for a little bit of an earlier Sunday morning over here from a very harshly raining Helsinki, Finland, dealing with all sorts of very frustrating technical difficulties right now. Holy shit, this is absolutely infuriating sometimes. I want to apologize for the lack of Twitch stream yesterday. The reason being because, well, hardware capture card doesn't want to fucking work, and getting in line with the Elgato support is a nightmare. They don't like to respond. Anyways, I'm sure I'll figure it out later. Perhaps I'll stop getting on my own fucking soap board right now, and so we can talk about some more relevant analysis to you perhaps. But with that said, I want to say that what else do I want to say? The Krown Trading application is live, so definitely go head on over to app.krowntrading.net. It's 100% free. It is a little bit more on the basic side right now, but we have been pushing updates to it with each week that has gone on by ever since its release a couple weeks ago, and more to come over this next month of February with a hopefully completionary-ish date at the end of the month. Anyways, with all of that said, as always, want to wish you well, want to wish you the best of the best and less technical difficulties in your life, because I know that it fucking sucks and it's annoying. And let's get in a live stream right now, baby. Waste no more time. I'm pressing that button and I'll see you over there in there. And Bitcoin starting off in the daily, beautiful daily going on right over here as we do have the golden cross. I want to follow up on this, and we'll kind of start off here, but then I want to go back down to the lower term time frames as it kind of helps round everything out. But with this in mind, this is kind of the focus right here, between the green and the purple, the lovely golden cross that we see between the 50 and the 200. More importantly, Bitcoin came all the way back down, tested around the next major moving average, that red 10 symbol that you see right over here, and that's exactly what we've been speaking about for the last few days, getting a test down to the next major relevant moving average, and that is what I consider a test of the golden cross right here. Now, I would say that I would have an overall bullish bias on Bitcoin from the medium to higher time frames analysis here. Of course, lower time frames, ebb and flow daily, hourly, fucking by the minute sometimes in Bitcoin land. But as long as we're above the 200 simple, just we've been saying for the past few days, more or less fine. I don't see any major long-term problems. And as long as Bitcoin holds a ton simple, I mean, even better. And that's coming in all the way at 90-50-ish region, of which I consider that a test. More importantly, the 21 is going to start to cross to the upside of the 200 simple right there, probably in the next few days. And that's just going to kind of strengthen the resolve of Bitcoin boo laws here, I'd imagine, as building up supports anywhere above this 8,900 pivot on the 200 simple moving average. It just makes it less and less likely that, just provides more and more support that over time, the more that Bitcoin kind of hangs up above this region, the more and more chance that these two major moving averages for the golden cross are going to have to get divergence, which strengthens the cross, which strengthens and implies all of the good old bot and algorithmic buy programs being initiated. So I do put a significant amount of weight on that, and more importantly, we can go down to the lower term timeframes now. It's still the exact same analysis that we have been saying for the past couple days, but I just want to follow up on this because simple as fuck, and it's been working. Blue boxes of peace and prosperity once again. All you had to do, or I don't mean to say that in a condescending way, but all that had to be done for the past few days, just buy the blue box right here and scalp it. At the end of the day, I've been saying for the past few days, as soon as we kind of created this range, as long as Bitcoin's closing 4-hour dildos above 92.50, I have no problems with it at all whatsoever. And I'm more or less looking at this as sideways, as bullish, as long as Bitcoin again is holding above 92.50. If 92.50 does get destroyed by a 4-hour dildo closure, even a 2 hour is probably good enough in this case, because it will be a fast play. I would look for a move all the way back down to 8,900 to test the daily 200 simple officially, and by extension the 21 exponential moving average, kind of both coming in the same area right now, and that's where things could actually change as far as the medium and higher time frames go right now. Anyways, because it is a Sunday, I do want to focus a little bit more on the macro, so I won't spend too much more time here on the lower term time frames. But remember what we said over the past couple of days: as long as Bitcoin goes sideways here, it's just going to allow the momentum also to cool off a little bit, as very little damage is done to, or no significant damage is done to price action. What I mean by that is 4-hour Stokes are coming quite heavily down here. But as long as it doesn't break this region, price action has not had any real damage to it, is my point. We're going to see the 3-hour Stokes probably come from the same area. They're actually crossing back up to the upside right here, which on it. Do I think that Bitcoin's going to blast? Do I think that Bitcoin's going to give another test of the upside resistance? Yes, I do. This looks like reaccumulation to me in the very sloppy way that Bitcoin likes to do it. We even have some hidden bullish divergence on the 2-hour present. I'm curious if that goes up to the 3-hour as well. Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does. Actually, we do have higher lows, and RSI making lower lows in the overall context of an uptrend. So that would be hidden bullish divergence in this case. On the 4-hour, not present because we actually did make semi lower low. Well, then again, do you compare it to this point or this point? Both are relevant, and one of them would suggest hidden bullish divergence. So it's not super powerful, but on the lower term time frames, very much pronounced there. And with lower time frame momentum also is turning back up. I do think that we're going to probably test back around, maybe 9450, 9500-ish region, maybe all the way up into this blue box territory here at about 96. But do I think that Bitcoin's ready to, give a legitimate try to the upside here? I think actually semi soon. I think semi soon here. The reason why I say that is looking at historical volatility percentile, we are starting to see it expand once again. But I still think that somewhere right around here, which would be perhaps later today when CMEs open, which should be around 5 p.m. Eastern time, or around New York Stock Exchange open tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. is more likely to get within the bounds of a blue box breaking move, essentially. So one of the moves that actually kind of changes the picture a little bit here for the lower term time frames. I would say for the upside, it's actually a lot more simple than the downside. Even just printing back above this 95, 70, 79 high right here, I think very, very likely would be good enough for continuation, although technically speaking, close is always going to be better, and I would say any sort of a close above 95, 50-ish region likely does get that next leg of continuation to the upside, which the next proverbial target, as far as I'm considered on the kind of medium time frames, is 98.50 right here. I don't really consider that a humongous resistance. I do think that Bitcoin would likely pull back off of it a little bit, but realistically, the next major resistance I see from the higher time frame is actually coming in much higher at about 11.1 to 11.3 right here. Let me just make sure that I'm recording. I am recording, and the microphone's working. Okay, great. Hopefully no technical difficulties, which is just going to make me lose my mind at this point. But looking at this right here, and kind of comparing this with the daily, we still see daily Stokes to the upside. However, they are getting a little bit tired, to be fair. They don't like to stay up there for too long, historically speaking. But kind of combining that with a lower time frame analysis, more and more sideways here is just going to allow that to reset a little bit. So I don't have a huge problem with it. And again, just going level by level is the easiest, most deductionist way of doing things right now. So I do think that we probably going to move a little bit later today, sometime between then and tomorrow's open on New York Stock Exchange, and we're very, very likely to break one of the ends of these ranges. Personally speaking, I think it would likely come to the upside, which we can look at probabilities in a bit. Actually, let's look at them right now with these two ranges in mind. Again, the range being 92.50 to the downside and 95.50-ish to the upside. And going over here to the expected moves chart, what do we see? On the 12-hour, we see 92.50 to the downside on the first aviation, and we see 9,500 to the upside on the first aviation. I'm curious what the daily is printing right now. The daily says about the same, but 96 to the upside, so a little bit more all-encompassing. You do see that the daily is actually working a little bit better here, so fair enough. I'll use it. I'll use it a little bit better on this one. So it would say that it's about a little bit less than 32% chance that we actually break to the upside or the downside today, as that would be outside of the first aviation. But to the downside, actually a little bit less of a chance, as that would be less than 16% chance, but it's really outside of the bounds of that, so maybe more like less than 10%. More importantly, you see the second standard deviation coming in right around 8,900. That is where the 200 simple is on the daily. So breaking that to the downside and actually changing those medium time frames rather than just testing them is less than, I think, 2.5% chance to happen. So very unlikely to happen today. Just as much to the upside. Funnily enough, look at where the second standard deviation is to the upside. It's right around 98.50, that next sort of target to the upside if we do break to the upside here, and that would mean that we have a less than 2% chance 2.5% chance to actually break to the upside today. So I do think that ranges are pretty damn concise here, pretty damn clear and concise. It's always a struggle to figure out which one is the right one to be going off of, but I do think that the 12 actually still does get things a little bit better. Anyways, weekend price action notorious for just being sloppy and garbage, really. Anyways, so let's go check out the medium time frames really quick. We got 12-hour right here. 12-hour coming all the way down to Tesla 21 after putting in a little bit of bearish divergence. think that that's fine. Still above all major moving averages right here. Don't really have any major problems with it. Pretty massive wick like that being bought up. I mean, this is a damn good time to remind myself to talk about this sort of concept. So Bitcoin hangs around the resistance area at around 9450, 9500, this whole way through, right? You get plenty of times throughout the day to buy, or sorry, to sell this area, right? You get fucking all the time in the world to buy, to sell the top right there. But look at where the wicks come in. You get maybe 5 seconds, and probably not even that. You probably don't even get 5 seconds, because realistically the system overload feature is running pretty damn strongly during these pieces of price action to buy the quote unquote low. So that is more indicative of upside pressure, at least in my experience, as well, it's harder to do is really what it comes down to. Everyone's trying to do the same thing here. Anyways, I'm curious how the medium time frame momentum oscillators are hanging out right now. We do see that 12-hour Stochs are going to be coming down pretty damn harshly here, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. That's probably the most bearish thing on the board to me, just because blindly trading it for the last year and a half has been phenomenally successful, which almost feels like a guilty pleasure is what it feels like, but it works. We do see that 12-hour RSI is looking like it wants to actually pull back here as well and lose the exponential and lose the bullish control zone. So what does that align with? Well, as long as Bitcoin doesn't break 9250, just lines with probably filling out that area once again, maybe testing a few more times back down to the lower 9200s or mid 9200s. But overall, I'm very hesitant to get bearish, even on the short-term time frames. Again, as long as we are as long as we're above 9250. Again, my opinion does not mean anything, but this area right here, very well defined, and that actually would change things. But as far as it is right now, I mean, this is a pretty good response to that last little liquidity hunt to the downside. And I do think that before anything else, Bitcoin will probably test back up somewhere around 9,500, and then the game will be on, sometime later today when CME's open. Anyways, let's go check out the 2-day for a second. What do we see on the 2-day? 2-day is fine. I don't really see any issues with it. No bearish divergence really present. We do see a major change of behavior on 2-day RSIs. We see with daily as well. I think this is more important for the long term here, as you can see that the daily and 2-day RSI by that by that same sort of takeaway has essentially been allergic to the bullish control zone ever since when? June of 2019, of course. That was coming off of this major massive rally right over here. So it's by no mistake that, as soon as that area was lost and we use it as resistance, that's your downtrend the whole way through from 14,000 down to 6,500. Just playing that by the very way of it was phenomenally successful. And what have we done over here? Well, we've had a change of behavior once again. We are maintaining it in the bullish control zone and trying to form a base support in there. And it actually looks like it probably gets kicked out again, but that's not a huge issue. I would expect it to probably get picked back up in the higher end of the neutral zone, somewhere around like 58 to 60-ish mark, or somewhere right around here, and that's going to likely complete the cycle for the next move to the upside, assuming that does happen. And where is that where is that critical point where all of that stuff changes? Again, 8,900 right here as far as that's concerned. Now, I should talk about what happens if 8,900 does get lost. If Bitcoin does close a daily, especially below 8,900, or even like a lower time frame as well, is probably not going to look too good. I would look for an ultimate move all the way back down to about 8,500 ish region, and I'd probably be looking for a bounce there. And at that point, I would not really be bullish anymore. I would be looking for a bounce, and then I'd probably want to just reassess the whole picture. But that's essentially what I'd be looking for if that route were to happen. But for right now, looks to me like Bitcoin's going to try to hold it up a little bit more sideways, let those lower time frames cool off a little bit more, and then probably give another push, assuming that our current high of 95.79 gets taken out to the upside. 98.50 would be my next area that I'm looking for, but realistically only short-term area, as I do think you would start to push through to the lower 10,000s. 10.1 to 10.3 essentially is where I'd be looking towards. Remember that Bitcoin has been kind of living in this long-term down falling channel here. Typically do break out to the upside, and we have a couple of estimates here, a couple of measure moves. One's a more aggressive one, and one is a more conservative one, depending upon whether I use the wicks. In this case, wicks like this, which is actually going to be a little bit less of a move like there, so it's actually going to be more in line with this region, or if I use bodies. So the bodies one is the one that's pointed a lot higher, actually towards about 11.5 to 12,000-ish region. That area is going to be relevant long term, assuming that Bitcoin does break out to the upside here. Not anytime soon, I'd imagine. But more recently, this is kind of where I'm getting that 10-1 to 10-3 region. In fact, on my GDAX chart, it's a little bit higher than that. But yeah, anywhere around 10-1 to about 10-3 is kind of where I'd be looking for if it does break out to the upside, which, looking at Bitcoin kind of consolidate at a higher level right here as all major moving averages cross back up to the upside, that does look like strength to me, to be fair. And more importantly, we can go over here to CMEs, which I just think are a better chart. And we have the same sort of golden cross going on. They are getting divergence away from each other. I would say that on CME, it actually is still an area of consideration right around this gappy territory at around 90.50 to 9100. That'd also be testing the 10 simple, which CMEs have not done since getting the golden cross on the daily right here. So I would say that, does CME suggest that we have another test to the downside, another one of those massive liquidity hunts to the downside? Probably yes. So, lower time frames and spot price action look to me like they want to test the upside. So does that mean that this next test to the upside is going to break to the upside officially? Probably not. We probably test the upside and the downside once again, and then the game begins. Looking at daily RSI, no major issues here, but same sort of important change of behavior here, getting back into the bullish control zone after literally more than 6 months away from it. Topping out June at $14,000. Not only that, daily Stokes still headed up there, pretty consistent with what we see on spot. Actually, not really too many different things to say there. What about 4-hour time frame? 4-hour holding the same area. So I would say that, I could very easily be wrong about this gap fill down to 90-50-ish region, but I do think that is one that is going to get filled over time. In this area right here, we got the same sort of territory essentially as we do on spot, but for CMEs, it would be a nice blue box of peace and prosperity right around 93-50-ish region. So as long as it holds above there, all good. And if it does break there, I would look for the gap fill down here. That's probably when Bitcoin spot comes down to test around 8,900-ish region, give or take a few bucks. The longer time that actually takes for that for that to happen, that will rise up naturally. What else? CME chart is just so much more orderly here. I'm sure a lot of people are calling this a head and shoulders. This is not a head and shoulders by any stretch of the imagination. The volume signature is wrong. The shape is also not really right either. And you see a lot of the times that counter trend formations get printed in here to kind of take advantage of the less sophisticated traders, if you want to call them that. Perhaps gamblers is a better term, and then run it the other way. Usually when I see a head and shoulders, I want to see it like on an actual downtrend. In fact, for one of the failed bounces, that's typically when you want to see them. Not always, but that's typically when they're going to play out the most highly statistical the highest probability for them to play out in crypto land. This is not the same for Forex or traditional in my experience. Forex and traditional are completely different, but in Bitcoin land, especially from studies that my friend's firm has done, he runs a quant firm and they do a little bit of Bitcoin market making. They've shown that those formations have a pretty low hit degree, counter trend formations, especially, which this would certainly be. Anyways, what else do we want to look at right around here? I do think that it's likely that Bitcoin closes the weekly somewhere right around here, just because that's where CME is closed. I don't think that we're going to close on weekly higher highs, but if Bitcoin does close on weekly higher highs, that'd be that 95-50-ish region, which would be massively significant. The reason being because Bitcoin closed above there. Now we have a confirmed reversal on weekly trend, which, is more of a technicality at this point. I think there's a lot of other earlier indications saying that the reversal is pretty much already real anyways. And this is as far as the macro goes. Of course, lower time frames have already done this, but we're speaking specifically to the macro now before someone says, Krown, how could you say that? Bitcoin's up 50%, or I'm guessing it's up 50%, or 46%, pretty damn good. Again, calm down. Sorry, I get some of the most interesting messages on Discord sometimes. So if you're ever wondering where these like autistic outrages of bursts come from, it's usually from answering the same fucking question like 100 goddamn times, of which I probably need to stop doing that. I probably need to, for my own sanity, close down my Discord inbox. And it's not because anyone's doing anything wrong. It's just because I don't think that I can handle it. It's really what it comes down to. Which is not anyone else's fault. It's my fault. Is what it is. But just need to take action in some way, and maybe that would be for the better. Anyway, so yes, if we do close above this 95-50-ish region, that would be a confirmed reversal from a weekly trending perspective, as we will have a higher high and a higher low. This would be a higher low right here. I mean, technically, you kind of want a little bit more of an obvious one, but that can come at a later date as well. But that would be from the historical stance of Bitcoin, the perfect way of getting all these major moves. Anytime we've had a weekly reversal, that's your massive moves to the downside and your massive moves to the upside. Not only that, but we can use some indicators to kind of get an earlier jump on these sorts of things, of which I think we've already seen some pretty damn impressive ones. The first one being the 21 exponential moving average right here, having, not just getting back above price action getting back above it, more accurately spoken, but getting consecutive opens and closes above it, and more importantly, getting a positive slope on it as well. So you do see that in former bear trends. We did actually close above the 21 a few times, but the 21 never got positive slope. And that's the difference between what's going on right over here and what went on right over here, for example. Not only that, but the 10 simple getting a positive slope as well, which is not confirmed actually right now. It will confirm at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Further strengthens that fact. And then if we get the 10 simple cross the upside of the 21, well, that's your very long-term uptrends, which is what I think most people are probably interested in. Not only that, but momentum oscillators are green. We do see that weekly Stokes getting back above the bearish control zone right around here, and that is a change of behavior, as you do see coming in all the way back from your 2018 bear market, and more recently that 50% down from like June to like December, I guess, coming all below that region. So it would be a change of behavior if we can confirm above this region by end of day, which Bitcoin's going to have a chance to do that. Not only that, but we do see that weekly RSI going to be having a chance to get back above this blue box territory right here, which would be at the point when we've actually had yet again another change of behavior confirmed as far as the long term goes. Bitcoin loves to play off this area on both uptrends and downtrends, and as you can see, ever since September right here, when we really started to dump, that's when it lost this region, and now it's going to actually have a chance to get back above 2018. We're below it the whole way through. From 2015 to 2018, we're above the whole way through, and these are all phenomenal entries as well, and vice versa for 14, 15 right here, and of course before that to the upside. The point is that a lot of people are going to say, Krown, but it got to 60 over here. Yes, I am aware it got to 60 over there. It's fine. It's not an issue. You're looking at this the wrong way. It's a little bit short-sighted to be looking at it as such. Just because it closes over here for the first time above, does that mean that you just blindly buy it? No. You have to always be thinking risk management, and this is the difference between someone who trades and someone gambles, and someone who is taking someone else's analysis and has no fucking clue why things are that way. And that's why I take a lot of time to explain my thought process here, not because I think that not because I'm trying to convince you that I'm right, but so that you can understand why I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking, and then apply it if it's relevant to you, or if you agree or don't. Or maybe you have something unique to offer up in that same vein, and you could say, hey Krown, have you considered this? And I'd say, oh no, I didn't, and thank you for that, because now I have a better understanding of this, and that's good for everyone because we all benefit, instead of just like whatever the other alternative is. Anyways, we won't get into that. But my point is that using this area as as a nice base in support, if Bitcoin were to come back down, the RSI were to come back down to it, that's where an actual edge for a trade is found. So we very likely do have a pullback on a weekly at some point in the next month or two, like a decent pullback on the weekly, and I want to see if this area holds up. If it does, that's going to be my next major edge for perhaps a longer term trade. Not only that, but where is this measure move coming from? I don't know, but I have some sort of a fib coming in. Okay, so this is a bearish retracement from 20,000 down to 3,100 actually, and we do see that 0.5 Fibonacci retracement coming in right around that 11.5 critical area. I would say for the macro, this area has to be highlighted here, just because there could be a lot of fuckery that goes on. Major fibs coming in here. Also, our last prior high resulting in a fake out. I think that we actually have a massive CME gap there as well, perhaps. Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. 11.8 actually, 11.9. So it is present there as well. And then also some measure moves from the falling channel that we spoke about earlier on Bitcoin Daily that actually has broken out to the upside. So a lot of things coming in that region, and I think it's also if we throw in the volume profile here, we'll probably see that there's a lack of activity above that region. Indeed, there is. So 11.5, 12,000 going to be absolutely critical for the macro. If Bitcoin can get above there, that's when Bitcoin can really start to absolutely rip as you see zero action being done essentially above there on the volume profile. That's when, I just generally put on the fucking bull horns and say, Bitcoin's going to ebb and flow in the lower time frames, but 16,500 and 20,000 are in the sights at that point, whether it takes a couple months or a couple weeks or whatever the fuck, maybe a couple years, who knows. I would essentially be looking much further north at that point, and then somewhere between like 18 and 20,000 is going to be the next like major area. But anyways, that's really, really far away. It's not even really relevant to what we're speaking about right now. Anyways, okay, cool. So I've been talking all sorts of shit for the last 25 minutes. So let's see what else we can come up with. I think I want to go check out the Bitcoin VWAP ratio. We've been monitoring this, or I've been monitoring this for the past long ass time now, maybe like 10 11 months I suppose now, and we saw confirmed change behavior. This is why I've been watching it so intently for the last for that last period of time. Remember this area right here, and I don't want to go through the full explanation here. Definitely go check out the last few videos uploaded in the long-term analysis playlist. I'll briefly kind of touch on it, but if you want them more in depth, just check them out, because probably going to be the last time that I really highlight this until we get a change of behavior in the other way, which is going to be even worse. But yeah, three things to be aware of here: the relationship between all these different moving averages on the VWAP, their positioning against where my cursor currently is right now, just kind of like run a regression through there, and then their divergence away from each other. So the blue being the most reactive, the purple being the middle reactive, and the pink being the least reactive, all speak to varying strengths of this. And when we see them all above the regression, bullish; when we see them all below, bearish. And we see all the lower periods or the most reactive below the least reactive, those are your strong trends in that direction. And then the divergence speaks to the length of that. And what do we see over here? Well, they're all getting back above the regression. We see the purple most importantly above the pink, which in the past has led on to all the reversals in the past for Bitcoin. That was confirmed last week, and now we see all the all the lower periods on this on the moving average for this VWAP ratio trading above higher periods. So it's strengthening to the upside is what it's saying. Change behavior is confirmed from this way, and that was confirmed in like the mid 8s a couple weeks ago, and that's when we started to really start to look towards the 9,000 and beyond on this region. So do like how that's shaping up over here, and I do like how that all ties into each other. Not only that, but if we go check out the Bitcoin difficulty ribbon, this is very interesting as well. So Bitcoin difficulty ribbon kind of started to contract on each other throughout that whole downwards move from 14 to 6.5, 6.4, whatever you want to call it. And now coming into the halving, very similar to what we've seen in the past, we see the contraction between the ribbon happening once again. But the thing is that once a contraction really actually starts to get close to each other, that's actually indicative that the major low is in and that we're ready to resume trend to the upside in this case. And we do see that not only have we seen the contraction happen, but now we're seeing expansion once again. Whoops, motherfucker. And now we've seen expansion once again, or we're seeing the initial etchings of expansion once again as the more as the more reactive portion of this is starting to buoy itself back up. You can see it start to get a positive slope once again. So I do think that is interesting from a long-term perspective, from a fundamental perspective, perhaps better said. And nice. Anyways, okay, cool. All right, so there's nothing new to talk about on traditional markets or gold or Forex because they don't trade during the weekend. Pretty much everything that I spoke about yesterday is what I'd stand by for that. I think that traditional markets, I'll briefly talk about traditional markets here. That is a weird weekly. I think that they're going to open, open Monday, probably back up somewhere right around like 323 and a half, 324, maybe get as much as 325 and a half. I do think that it's going to open up on a rally, but after that, I'd probably be looking for a resummation of trend to the downside sometime, later in the week. I do think that 320 gets tested again, and if that area breaks, I would be looking for a move down to 315. Let's go check out some of the top shit. Or sorry, before we do that, let's go look at the total market cap. Let's go look at the total market cap. Okay, so total market cap right here. Let's go to a weekly. Total market cap, did we print a higher high? No, we did not. But total market cap is going to have a chance to close on a higher high, anywhere above 245 billion by end of day. And that, I've been hesitant to put a lot of emphasis on that in the past, but to be fair, it does work pretty well as an actionable chart for not just for the greater market, but actually for Bitcoin specifically, going level by level here, this would have been a very easy low to call, not just because it tests the 200 simple, but just so you can kind of imagine a base support right around 175 billion. Anyways, more importantly, we are going to very, very likely have a chance to close above on higher highs and confirm that uptrend. Not only that, weekly RSI looking more or less healthy here. Longer term, weekly Stokes looking decent as well. I don't have any major issues with that. And we are seeing volatility contract over the very macro of this. In fact, coming all the way back from 20,000 highs, right around here. Something like this need more of a regression. So it would kind of speak to the greater, to the greater good. And imply breakout actually somewhere early in 2021 as far as like the macro goes. So when we're talking about macro here, it'd essentially be talking about like below 155 billion or above 550 billion. So we're talking about like big massive moves there. That's a big deal. Anyway, it's gonna have a chance to do it's gonna have a chance to actually revert the trend here, and in this case the trend would love to be your friend if you just let it be. Let's go check out the Bitcoin dominance. See what this is doing. What do we see over here? Bitcoin dominance, very difficult read. I don't think I have a good idea here. I don't think I am on top of it. I don't think that I have any relevant thoughts that could be of interest or help. If I had to say something, it looks like it's trying to form a base support here. That's about it though. Bulls are going to be looking at this as let's just get rid of everything. Bulls are going to be looking at this as a falling channel, which would, if you're bullish on the dominance, you're going to be massively bearish on altcoins versus Satoshis. Bears going to be looking at this as a downtrend on a weekly, which it is. Both are right. So how do you know which one wins out? Well, I would say that bears win out, which means that altcoin enthusiasts win if it cracks the 66.5 barrier to the downside. By the same token, bulls are still in the game as long as it's holding this area and kind of bounces back off it, but not really winning until it's back up about 70.5%. At that point, I'd be phenomenally bullish on the dominance chart once again, which means I'm very, very bearish on alts versus Satoshis. Let's go cut out the middleman and go check out some highly intelligent altcoins, and see what they're doing. What do we see on Linky over here? I know that's a favorite of a lot of people, and for the record, pretty much all altcoins do the same thing. Link actually has had a history of not doing the same thing, so fair enough. What do we see? Link actually looks pretty good. Looks like it probably does give another test of this upside resistance at 31,000 Satoshis. If it does take it out, I'd be looking for a retest of the prior high. It's in an uptrend on the weekly. Let's go check out, what's more indicative of most of the shitcoin market, and that's Cardano. Cardano is going to be right at resistance, but this is looking a lot more bottomy-ish to me. This looks a lot more bottomy-ish to me. That means absolutely nothing. If it could actually close on a higher high above this July spike right here, I would say that that's going to open up the doors for a nice rally to the last relevant resistance at 850-ish region. So that'd look pretty damn good. Volume increase in the upside, I do like that. So it probably does actually break out here. So I think that dominance chart probably is bearish actually, but I don't think that I have a good read on that. Take it as well. I don't trade altcoins to begin with, so I'm not really concerned with it. We can go check out Mrs. Litecoin, of which Mrs. Litecoin I think rounds out Bitcoin's bullishness the best, because we do have new highs confirmed on a weekly, anywhere above the past prior high of 66 and 3/4 right here. Looks really, really good to me. It's even have a chance to. It's even testing the prior high before that in middle of September. I don't think that we actually take out this area this week, but I do think that this is going to be the next sort of bashing of resistance here, quite obviously, and we'll probably play in a range on the weekly schedule between about 72.5 down to about 66 bucks, as long as it's kind of holding that range. Overall bullish, kind of similar to Bitcoin in the lower time frames right now, but any sort of a break back above this region, and I would target a move towards 80 bucks and perhaps beyond. By the same token, to the downside, below 66, things get a lot more nasty, so we'll cover that up if it happens. Anyways, forgot to talk about this as well, just kind of rounding out the upside objectives here. As far as CMEs go, CMEs are a very interesting chart, which I'm going to completely destroy it. We actually do have an inverted head and shoulders in place here, and the target of this I think would be consistent with one of our other major areas. I'm just kind of eyeballing it out. Yeah, it would suggest around 12,000-ish region. At that point, it probably is premium on price action. So if Bitcoin does make its way up to 11.5, 12,000 in like the next month or two, do be aware that that's going to be an area of major contention and a lot of potential fuckery going on over there. I would very, very likely be looking for a major pullback on the weekly. If and when that does happen, but that's again still way, way far away. I don't want to be misheard and get ahead of myself. Like Krown saying that we're going to 12,000 right now. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if those lower time frame objectives get taken out to the upside, then yes, then I would start looking up there. Yeah, but we still got 98.50 to deal with, then 10.1 to 10.3 zone to deal with, and then yeah, we probably talk about 11.5 region. Anyways, holy shit, is that an uptrend? I think it's an uptrend, man. Short it. Everyone's looking for a fucking divergence plays on something like this, and it's very silly. It's very silly until you just just wait till the fucking uptrend gets destroyed. It's not going to take that long. And then yeah, you probably have a massive play to the downside. But Jesus Christ. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about? Feel like this video might be a little bit on the shorter side, which is actually seems to me like most people like the shorter ones. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about? I think that might be it. What about is there anything on the 3-day I want to speak about? 3-day 21 and 55 about to cross the upside. That's been a pretty damn good cross for the genesis of Bitcoin. Let's briefly look at this one right here. If you're in the TA program, you know exactly why. Last time we saw it cross the downside was during this area right over here. Not the best timer, but does get the momentum quite well. Last time we saw the upside right here, getting all the way from 5 to 14. Last time to the downside right here. Again, not a good not a good timer, but great for momentum, all the way down from about 10,000 to 31. Time before that to the upside the whole way through from 2015 to 2018. I mean, just like literally 100x right there, or almost 100x, all the way down from 2014 bull trap here to the low. So very, very little fake outs, to be fair, over the history of it. And we are about one closure away from confirming a nice bullish cross of it once again. And at that point, then from a 3-day perspective, really not much stopping you from, about mid to low 10,000. Jesus Christ. Also, historical volatility percentile very low in the 3 days, so a move isn't coming very, very likely relatively soon. And not only that, but 3-day RSI can have a chance to confirm its own change of behavior here as well by getting back into the bullish control zone for the first time since when? Holy fuck! It looks like June of 2019. That looks like that last uptrend that we saw. Crazy. Fucking crazy. Anyways, is that a good point to kind of roll this baby off? I feel like I'm forgetting a few things. We can go look at Mr. Buterol, I suppose. Mr. Buterol pushing off as well. Nicely done. Wow. Yeah, powerful, Mr. Buterol. Where's the next major area? Oh, we are poking our heads above this blue box right here. Blue box of peace and prosperity about to be destroyed by Bitcoin green dildos. Sorry, Ethereum green dildos. I suppose $200 is the next target. Yeah. Right here's where I'd be looking towards, and that's a little bit over. That's a few cents over $200. Good. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Daily RSI is more or less healthy. Daily Stokes, fine. You're going to notice your momentum oscillator take on a completely different meaning during strong trending moves. There's no such thing as overbought or oversold. I see this myth perpetuated on crypto Twitter all the goddamn time. There's no such thing as overbought or oversold in trending markets. It's one of the big things that my mentor taught me at the first, because I used to say but mentor, the Stokes are very high. This move must pull back now. He'd say, hey, do you see that? Let's see, what are you talking about? He's like, that's a fucking trend. Don't say dumb shit like that again, or you're out. Okay, got it, mentor. I won't say any more dumb shit. No, he was a lot more, a lot more gentle than that. But basically, the message: shut the fuck up, follow the trend, and when you get confirmed reversals, that's when you trust your momentum also to start to bring things down once again. In this case, of course, it'd be vice versa to the upside. I'm trying to find I feel like there's something that I'm just completely missing right now. Ah, yes. This is it right here. Okay, great. Okay, so let's get a fresh chart once again. I do want to speak a little bit more to the macro of Bitcoin here for a second, because we do see this nice ascending volume right in over here, which suggests that this consolidation is actually the thing to be paying attention to, whether you're looking at as a falling wedge or a falling channel. The falling channel measure moves actually much higher towards that 11.5 to 12,000 region. The falling wedge measure moves actually in the 10.3 region. So I do think that both of them are equally as valid. I think I see that channels typically have a better history of playing out in Bitcoin land, but this one does work as both actually. So I do think that both are relevant to be to be looking at right here, especially as long as we are below that last breakout point in the upper 8,000s. And again, I've been using about 8,900 as that pivot point. I can't even speak right now, Jesus. So yeah, I keep an eye on that long term. Anyways, I'll start to wrap this bitch up. I don't want to waste any more of your time, and I'm hungry as fuck, man. I'm super hungry right now. But yeah, looking at this right here, blue boxes of peace and prosperity still offering up the nice scalping ranges, of which I didn't get to catch this one because I was asleep. And anywhere below 92.50 on like a 4-hour total close, and probably even a 2-hour gets it as well. Let's actually see if the 2 hours done it. No, the 2 hours not. Okay, so yeah, probably 2 hour does it as well. Then I would be looking for a move down to at the very least 9,000, but realistically 8,900 is where I'd be looking towards. Test the daily 200 simple and probably bounce there. I don't really think that's what's happening right here, but fair enough. I do think that's important to talk about all the relevant areas, because, well, that's what trading is. Not about fucking having the crystal ball. It's about having the statistics, man. And to the upside, a little bit easier in my opinion. I do think that if we even just ticked back above 95.79, that's probably going to initiate the next leg of continuation towards 98.50ish region. However, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, I would wait for, like, at the very least a 2-hour deal to close above this region, above 95.50, that is. And then yeah, target to move a couple $100 higher. You do see that we have a nice box of consolidation right here, which actually is a technical term, funnily enough. And the measure move on that baby is going to be pointed towards 98.50 to the upside, into the downside. Holy shit! What do you know? 8,900. It's like this fucking technical analysis shit is a bunch of hoopla. I've had enough of these TA autists. Fuck them. Burn them alive. Just kidding. That's how people treat fucking TA. They think it's like some sort of witch doctor. No, it's just you're using statistics. That's all. That's it. That's all it is. No one can tell the future. As far as I know, I don't know. Maybe there's some wizards out there. I hope there's some actual wizards out there. And if you are a wizard, please do message me, because I want to fucking join. Where's my invitation? Anyways, I think that pretty much does it. I apologize for all my autistic rants, and I'm gonna go eat a shit ton of food now, because I'm really, 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 really hungry. And before that, I want to wish you well. Maybe I'll be on Twitch later tonight, or sorry, maybe Elsa will be on Twitch later today. Her username is Elsa69 there, and hopefully we can figure out the technical difficulty situation, because man, oh man. I hate dealing with that kind of shit. Anyways, I hope everyone has a great Sunday, and take care. I'll see you soon.